I now call on Stuart Stevenson to be followed by John Park. Up to 4 minutes.
Thank you, Presiding Officer, and I congratulate the committee on bringing forward this excellent debate on community sports. It's worth remembering 100 years ago, mortality in life was infection-based. Today, mortality in life is based largely on chronic disease, and underpinning chronic disease that kills so many in our society is obesity and lack of physical activity. I'm very grateful to the whips in my party for putting me in my new office on the 5th floor of the MSP block. That has meant I'm already fitter because I don't use the lift. And I'm going to be monitoring the activities of everybody in this chamber and beyond, because 90% of us can be using the stairs, and we should be doing so and setting an example by using the opportunities that we have to exploit opportunities to become fitter. As Minister, I walked 550 miles as a Minister. Now, I have to say that sounds a hell of a lot, but it was 5 years. And when I compare that with the elite athlete in my family who's been a world champion in orienteering twice, his training schedule is 160 miles a week. And that neatly leads me into something that I haven't seen mentioned at all in this debate. And that is the natural asset that is on our doorstep, that we have in abundance in Scotland, and that is our rural environment, where many sports can be undertaken. Access is easy, the cost is often modest, and orienteering is an excellent example of that. Simply a pair of running shoes, simply the open countryside, simply a few people to organise things. It's not an elite sport because it's not in the Commonwealth Games or the Olympics, but it is one that engages huge numbers of people across Scotland. And it's something you can enter at every level of fitness and every level of age. They have string events for children in P1 and P2, right up to people who are in their 90s who are still participating in the sport. Because age, I'm the second oldest person to speak in this debate, age should not be and is not a barrier to fitness. In Australia, some 30 years ago, I happened to see on morning television in the hotel I was staying in, somebody being interviewed. For the 40th consecutive year, he had won the over 40s marathon in Australia. He was now over 90, and he was as fit as a 40-year-old. That opportunity exists for us all, and we should encourage people to use recreation as a gateway to sport, because sport is, of course, about competing. And if we compete with people, we get engaged, we get reinforced, we have social benefits. And speaking of social benefits, to diverge away to something else seemingly quite different, there's a report today that there have been 703 pubs have shut in Scotland in the last 5 years. Oh, good, we're much fitter, you might say. But actually, some of the most successful pubs that have survived as community pubs are now getting their own sports teams. So sometimes it's quite unlikely places that can be a spur to getting people engaged in physical activity, to getting people engaged in community sports. So let's be innovative. Look to the countryside for opportunity. Let's be innovative. Let's look to even our pubs. Let me just close by saying that perhaps the convener was unwise to quote in the way he did Mark Twain, who, of course, was one of the least fit people. He said, giving up smoking is easy. I've done it thousands of times. Not the example we want to encourage. Presiding Officer.